Okay, so tonight is actually 3 weeks now from the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. So many of us, we don't really know what that means. And why do we care so much that a building is destroyed? It's just a building. 2,000 years ago, there was a building was destroyed. In New York, it happens all the time. Building comes up, it goes down. We're still mourning over the loss of a building from 2,000 years ago. Why? The Zohar says it's good every single night at midnight to cry over the loss of this building. What's the big deal? Even people who lose a partner, they don't do that. At least after a certain point. So, we have to understand something very important. Ready? Everything that's causing us suffering in our life, whether it's a lack of financial stability, whether it is a lack of peace within yourself, whether it is a lack of self-esteem, whether it is a lack of unity between the Jewish people, whether it is a lack of feeling that you're yourself, all of those things come from one thing, that there is not a Beit HaMikdash. The only time we've had peace, world peace, was at the time that there was a Beit HaMikdash. Why? Because the Beit HaMikdash is a home. A home is a space. Rabbi Nachman says that how did Abraham serve Hashem? How did Abraham serve Hashem? He looked at it like a mountain. He had to climb a mountain to get to him. Right? So only a few people can climb a mountain to get to Hashem. It's very hard to climb a mountain. I could barely get here. It was like a 5-minute walk. I'm not in good shape, but how did Yitzchak see his relationship with Hashem? It wasn't a mountain. He was in the field, like we always suggest you guys to do. So what's the difference between a field and a mountain? It's easier to get to a field, no? It's a little bit more homey. It's a little less overwhelming. And how did Yaakov see Hashem? How did Jacob see Hashem? Like a house. The majority of the reason why people do not feel close to Hashem is because they see Hashem like a mountain. That you have to climb this gigantic mountain to find God. You don't have to climb any mountain. He's here with you right now. He's speaking to you right now. This world is His home. He's right here. You don't have to go anywhere. So what does Rabbi Nachman say is the key to everybody coming back to Hashem? To find their real connection to Hashem? That we should make spirituality like a home, not like a mountain. That you understand that He's right here. Just like when you come home from school and your parents have your little snacks waiting for you when you're a kid. Yeah? So you come, you don't even have to go home. You just take a step. He's waiting for you with like a little snack, a little cheese, whatever, you know. He's waiting for you. He wants to talk to you. Well, how do we look at Him? He's like up there somewhere, and He's judging you in every single thing that you do, and he's concerned about you, and he thinks bad about you. Where does it say that? Where does it say that? The first person who revealed God in the world, his name was Abraham. Abraham. What was his whole thing? How did he show people that Hashem existed? With love. It was the first thing he did. For thousands of years, people thought there was many gods and they were out to get you. This is what the non-Jewish world, before there even was a Jewish world, what did everybody think? There's multiple gods and you're at their whim and they're out to get you. This is what non-Jews felt. And all of a sudden, one person comes and the Torah teaches, why was he called an Ivri? Why are we called Jewish? What does it mean to be Ivri? So the simple understanding is he was on, Ivri means other. He was on the other side of the river. Right? Everyone was on one side, he was on the other. But the sages teach it was much deeper than that. He was on one side about what life is about, what a relationship with Hashem is really like, what you're here for, and the whole entire world was on the other side. It was him versus the whole world. We're all called Ivri. Ivri means Jewish. Rabbi Nachman says every single Jewish man and woman needs to know that when they're serving Hashem, they should look at it like it's them and Hashem, and the rest of the world is not there. It's you and Hashem. And everyone should feel like that. It should be so personal. The Beit HaMikdash was the place, was a home. You walked into that home and everybody there felt that Hashem loved them. Did you ever walk in a home that was healthy? Did you ever walk in a home where the family was somewhat normal, where they were nice to you, they gave you like a cookie and a tea, and you just felt good. You just felt loved. You just felt home. Where do we learn to do that from? It's a mitzvah in the Torah. That you have to, when guests come over, you have to make them feel that the whole world is about them. Did you know there was a mitzvah? It's a big mitzvah. It's one of the biggest mitzvot that there are. Where do we learn it from? That Avraham, the first Jew, is talking to Hashem, and guests come over, and he said, sorry Hashem, 1 second. He had to go get them food. Why would the Torah teach us about that? To show that Hashem loves that.
Only for guests.
What do you mean, not for your family? Now when your family comes over unexpectedly? Anybody who comes over. It's a big mitzvah. But you know, when you do it, you realize something. Because the rabbis teach that Hashem keeps his own Torah. So if he says that every Jewish person needs to make the person who comes over his home feel that the whole world is about him, I'm here to serve you, I'm here to help you, I'm here to help you feel good, to feel home, that means that Hashem is doing that with us. Because he keeps his own mitzvot. Every moment he's trying to think, what can I do for my daughter? What can I do for my daughter? What can I do for my daughter? How can I make her feel special? How can I make her feel home? How can I make... Now, we don't experience that because there's a lot of lies in our mind. From our traumas, from people, rabbis, from teachers, from family, from abuse, from drugs, from whatever. And we project our own inner reality onto Hashem. But Hashem is infinite love. Infinite love. So, this month, every month has a different chush. Every month has a different sense. This month's sense is sight. Different months, sometimes it's hearing. That means that you have a special ability to correct a certain feature of yourself. This month, you have a special ability to correct your sight. Why is that so important? Because the beginning of the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, meaning the beginning of the destruction of feeling that Hashem has a home here and that we feel at home with him, which was 2,000 years ago, was a blemish in sight that we didn't see correctly. What's the sight that needs to be seen? To judge others favorably. That when you see a person struggling, or when you see a person who's mean to you, or you see a person who hurts you, that you judge them favorably. Rabbi Nachman says, something that I've never seen anywhere else, even if a Jew is a complete rasha, he has done the worst things in history, you have to judge him favorably. Does that mean you condone what he did? No. But you judge him favorably. And then Rabbi Nachman says, and if that's true for the greatest, worst person that ever lived, how much more so should you judge yourself favorably? That you're not like that. The key to being able to see correctly is to judge favorably. The Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Nachman's great-grandfather, his biggest inspiration, who created this movement called Chassidut, where he wanted to teach the world that Hashem loves you. And we lost that a long time ago. When he was very young, his parents passed away. He was an orphan. First his father passed away. 1 year later his mother passed away. Very young, 5, 4, 5. And his dad told him before he passed away, I want you to know 2 things. These 2 things, don't worry about anything else. Don't think about anything else the rest of your life. 1, you should have Yirat Hashem. You should have Amunah in Hashem alone. That you should believe in Hashem alone. You should fear Hashem alone. You shouldn't fear people. You shouldn't fear places. You shouldn't fear things. You shouldn't have anxiety about anything. Because you have Hashem, always. He's everywhere. 2, that you need to love every Jewish man and woman with all of your heart, no matter what they've done, no matter what they're like, no matter what you think about them, that you love them with an endless love. And the Baal Shem Tov's parents passed away right after that. He was very young. So what happened to him? His parents had friends in the community, so they put him in a home where he had a teacher. He's called a Malamed, a children's teacher. This children's teacher had a wife, and they had students in this home. How did he survive in the home? He used to clean the home, and then they let him stay. He cleaned the home, and then he would learn with the kids. And what was the problem? The Malamed was really mean. The teacher was cruel to the kids. He was cruel in how he taught. His wife was insane. She was insane. And the kids were mean to each other. They're kids, you know. And the Baal Shem Tov was seeing all of this. His parents just passed away. His dad says to him, you need to love every Jew no matter what. And he got so upset because he felt that he couldn't do it. At 5 years old, he went out to the woods and he said, Hashem, my dad told me to love every single Jew no matter what. I can't love any of the people in this home. What's wrong with me? And he heard someone from behind him say, I bless you, Sruli. His name was Yisrael, but in Yes, Sruli, that you should be able to see. That was all he said. I bless you, Sruli, that you should be able to see. And he left. And if he was Benny, he would have been like, that's a bug out. What was that? What was that? He had no idea what the guy was talking about. He just went, and he went back to the home, because he has to go home, right? And when he came home, he saw the teacher. He was still just as angry, but he saw that he was poor. And he wasn't able to support his family because he was a children's teacher. And he saw that he was angry because he couldn't support his family. He didn't feel like he was a real man. And he saw the wife, that she was crazy. She was still crazy. But he saw that she had been through a lot in her life. And she was acting out because of that. And he saw the children, that they were the way that they were because they were coming from lost homes. And he realized that the person who blessed him was a hidden Sadiq. It was someone who nobody knew who he was, who knew about him, because his father, Yisrael, Baal Shem Tov, was also a hidden Sadiq. They had a whole secret society of hidden Sadiqim, that they pretended that they were nobodies. They dressed like they were poor, like they never learned any Torah, and they would go help people who were impoverished, who were struggling, who were oppressed. And the Baal Shem Tov turned that into a whole movement of Judaism. Okay? This was Rabbi Nachman's grandfather, so now we know where he's coming from. But you see, he blessed him that he could be able to see. So you see, what does it mean to be able to see? To be able to judge favorably. To see people in circumstances, not just to see what's happening. What's the difference between those two scenarios? The first scenario, you could lose your mind. Can you imagine a kid who loses his parents and he's now in an abusive household with a father or a teacher who's angry and verbally abusive, the wife is insane, and the kids are all cruel, and he just lost his parents. But he comes back with a blessing that you should be able to see. And he has empathy for them. Because he knows their circumstances, he can love them. How do you now love yourself? You need to judge yourself favorably. Not just to make yourself feel better, because it's true. However you look at yourself, I'm the worst, I'm the ugliest, I'm the most disgusting person, I did this, I did that, my parents did this to me, it must have been me, it must have been my fault. No. It's not you. The fact that you're still alive today, that you're coming to a Beit Midrash, to a Beit Knesset, to a shul, during the COVID virus, in a city where everybody is chasing money and drugs and sex, and you're here trying to find yourself. You're a hero. When's the last time you felt that? Never? Never. And then we say, why doesn't Hashem love me? Why doesn't Hashem love me? Why doesn't He help me? Why doesn't He care about me? Maybe you don't love you. Maybe you don't care about you. And you're projecting that on Hashem. How do I know this? It's my whole life. My whole life. I remember someone came up to me when I was in California. I went to UCLA. And I was an atheist at that point. And if anyone doesn't know, it's a person who doesn't believe that God exists. And I used to think that everybody who believed in God was in a cult, and that they were literally stopping the world from progressing to ever having peace in the world, and from ever having harmony and unity and whatever. And I remember for the first time somebody said something to me. He was a Persian Jew. He wasn't even necessarily holding. He was very smart though, and he really believed. And he was talking to me, and we were hanging out, and he listened to everything I said. He didn't respond. Usually when people hear me, I'm very aggressive when I talk. I'm very intense, and obviously what's the response? The same from the other side. He just sat and listened to me very calmly. Listened to the whole thing. He said, David, I want to tell you something. I want you just to think about what I'm saying. I said, okay. He said, I don't think you don't believe in God. I think you're really angry. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, just think about it. And he left. I thought all night about it. And I woke up in the morning and I go, oh my gosh. I'm just really angry. I'm just really mad. I'm mad at what happened to me in my life. I'm mad at what's happening in the world. I'm angry. And I projected that on Hashem, on religion, on spiritual people. But that's not just for me. We do this every day. We do this every day. We say Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. That Hashem loves you, He sends you with a love, and loves you with an endless love, Ahava Rabbah, Ahavat Olam, an infinite love. Like, do you feel that? Does anybody feel that? Scary. Why? Because we don't see. So one of the keys to being close to Hashem is like the Baal Shem Tov, that you should have a blessing, you should be able to see. So I bless each of you. It's not the end of the class, but really it's so This is very raw for me. This is something that is very near and dear to my heart. When I see so many people suffering and struggling for no reason. You know, the Baal Tanya, he's the creator of Chabad Hasidus. He was one of the students, not of the Baal Shem Tov, but of his main student, who was the Maggid of Mezrich. They created Chabad. So, I don't remember what I was going to say. One second. Okay, Hashem, help me bring it back to my mind. Mamish. Oh, that's a good example, actually. This is even better. You ready? What would I have done a year ago to the past 30 years of my life? I would have been so mad at myself for the rest of the class that I forgot a really important thing to say. And I would have went home and thought about it. How did I mess that up? How did I not think about it? How did I not get it? I didn't prepare enough. I didn't do this enough. I didn't do that enough. You know why I forgot? Because Hashem wanted me to. That's it. Why would I get upset about that? It's fine. Everything is fine. The world's not going to end. Everything's okay. And I remember what I said. So the Baal Tanya says that, how do you know a person becomes a real tzaddik? What's the difference between a person who he's called what's called an incomplete tzaddik, that on paper he looks like a tzaddik, he acts like a tzaddik, he feels like a tzaddik, like literally he is. Like anyone would see him be like, this is mamish a tzaddik, this guy's an amazing, this woman is a tzaddikah, whatever. Like, when does it change that you become a complete tzaddik? That you reach the highest level of connection to Hashem, spiritual elevation? He says when you hate evil, when you hate negativity, when you hate bad. Not your own, that we're talking about the judging rooms. And I never understood what that meant. But when you heal from all of your stuff, if Hashem helps you merit and you connect yourself to Rabbi Nachman and his wisdom and his advice and his teachings, and you don't give up in it, Bezrat Hashem, you'll all heal. You're going to look at the world and you're going to see everyone who's suffering and struggling, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, nobody needs to be doing this. Nobody needs to be suffering. Everything's okay. And when you realize that, then you're going to hate evil. Then you're going to hate the fact that there's some force in existence which is causing everybody to feel bad. It doesn't have to be that way. So now we're finishing the second chapter of Tehillim. We ended last time by saying that Hashem says to David, the soul of Mashiach, who we said each of us has a spark of that soul within us. Asapr al-chok Adonai amar elai b'ni ata ani hayom li'ticha. David is saying, I'm going to tell everybody what you told me. What did Hashem tell him? B'ni ata, you are my son. Hayom li'ticha. Today, I'm giving birth to you. Today I'm giving birth to you. What does it mean? Again, to be able to see clearly means that you know today is the only day that exists. This is the only day that exists. Today I give birth to you. David is reflective of every single Jew. So what is the Tehillim teaching us? Do you know part of the reason why we're suffering so much? Because you're contemplating and thinking about things that don't really exist. What exists? This right now. That's it. Nothing else exists. What is the Mashiach here to teach us? Now. Now. How far does this go? There's a very famous midrash. Sages teach that Rabbi Shua ben Levi, I believe it was, very big sage from 2,000 years ago, he didn't understand why Mashiach hadn't come yet. They were suffering from the Romans, they were being persecuted, they were being burned alive, they were being crucifixed, they were being ostracized and just tormented. Where's Mashiach? And Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi was very, very special. And he had an experience with the soul of the Mashiach. And he saw him with people who were all sick. And he was with them, unbandaging them and bandaging them. He was with the sick. And he said, why are you not revealing yourself? Why aren't you coming? He said, I'm coming hayom. I'm coming today. He was so excited. Can you imagine? Your whole people has been suffering tremendously for years and years and years. The Jewish people have been waiting for Mashiach for thousands of years since Moshe Rabbeinu. He started going around telling everybody, Mashiach's coming today, Mashiach's coming today. He didn't come. And he didn't understand. He got so mad. He went back and he said, you said you were coming today. Hayom, today. If you listen to Hashem. So the way people usually listen to this, or the way that people usually hear this, is today, but that's on the condition that we do what Hashem wants. Rabbi Nachman says much deeper than that. Hayom, today. Meaning whenever you realize that there's only today, I'm coming today. You want redemption in your life? Hayom. When you understand that there's only today. But when you are focused on the past and the things that have happened to you, your redemption's not coming. When you're worried about the future, your redemption's not coming. But if you are realizing that Hashem gave birth to you today, you're new today, you're a brand new daughter of Hashem today, you're a brand new baby girl today, Hayom, you could have redemption today. Ask from me anything you want. From all the nations of the world, from all the ends of the world, I'll give it to you. This is how Hashem relates to us. Ask me what you want. Whatever you want, I'll give you. Should I even really say something to Hashem? Who am I to ask Hashem for anything? What do you mean? Are any of you a parent? Anybody a parent here? Does anybody want to be a parent? In the future? Does anybody want to oh, you don't have to answer this question. If you can imagine that, Bezrat Hashem, you'll be a healthy parent. Yeah? And a happy parent. And a loving parent. What is going to make you happier than anything else? That your son or your daughter wants something good. Want something good. Dad, Mom, I want to know how I could be my best self. Can you imagine? Your kid comes up to you, I want to know how I could be my best self. I'm trying to be my best self. I'm trying to find inner peace. I'm trying to find love. I'm trying to find truth. I'm confused. What do you think your dad's going to say? Who are you to talk to me? Brings the back of the... What do you think? What do you think God is? I don't understand. No. Hashem's saying, ask me whatever you want to ask me. I want to give you everything. I want to give you everything. I want to give you whatever you want. Where do we learn this from? The first man that existed, Adam Rishon, Adam, first man, Chava, are in the garden, right? So we know that everything was created in the first 7 days of creation. But Rashi, the most famous commentator, the one who explains the whole Torah, he says that even though everything was created, it was only created in potential. It was only on the seventh day that everything actually came into reality. It's like seeds were planted for 6 days. Seeds for the moon, seeds for the sun, seeds for the grass, for the trees, for the animals, for the food, for the oceans, for the river. But nothing was actually physically created. What was he waiting for? He was waiting for Adam. What was he waiting for Adam? To ask. The whole reason Hashem created the world is to create everything in potential so that he could create a son and a daughter who can ask him for what they want. That's why he created the whole universe. Everything already exists in potential. Just waiting for you to ask from the bottom of your heart for the thing that you want without fear, without trepidation, without judgment, with faith that Hashem loves you and he wants to give it to you. This is what he's waiting for. And it said, why didn't it rain until Adam came? Because rain is what caused everything to grow. He wanted Adam to pray for rain first. Meaning he wanted everything to grow. So this is our God. This is the God of the Torah. This is the God of Judaism. It's not one that's out to get you. It's not one that's nitpicking on everything that you do. Rabbi Nachman says, he only sees your good. He only sees the good in you. Not that he sees the other stuff and he dismisses it. He doesn't even see it. So how do you find out how Hashem thinks about you? You have to find the good in yourself. The most important lesson that Rabbi Nachman says he wrote, and I can tell you that every lesson is life-changing. There's not one lesson that I'd say like this is the most out of all of them. Any single one. There's hundreds of them. But he said this is the most important lesson that I wrote. Every single Jew needs to keep it in their pocket every day and look at it once a day. It's called a zamra. It means I'm going to sing. Where does it come from? There's a pasuk in Tehillim that says, I'm going to sing, David says, be'odi. I'm going to sing to you Hashem be'odi. What does it literally mean? So the way to translate is with, I am going to sing to you, but that's not the literal translation. It's with my little. With the little bit of myself, I'm going to sing to you. What's that little bit? That little bit of good. Whatever good I can find in myself, with that I'm going to sing to you. So what's the whole lesson? That you need to find the good point in yourself, whatever you can find. Like I'll give you an example for me. When I was in the midst of a very deep depression, what good am I going to find? I thought I was the worst person in the world. I thought I ruined my wife's life by bringing her over to America to leave her family to be with me. I thought I was the worst father in the world, that I wasn't present for them. I couldn't help them, I couldn't be with them because I was busy in my bed crying every day. I wasn't working and supporting my family. What good am I going to find in myself? I thought I was the worst human being in the world. Rabbi Nachman says, there's good. There's good. I said, Hashem, it wasn't easy for me. I said, Hashem, you must think I'm so strong. You must think I'm the strongest person in the world. Because I don't know anybody who will come out of this. But if you gave me this, it means that you think that I can get better. And if you think I can get better from this, you must think I'm the strongest person in the world. And I said it to myself every day with tears coming down from my eyes. So much pain, forcing myself to say it. I started to get better. And then I found another good point. And then I found another good point. And then I found another good point. Until I wasn't depressed anymore. What happens when you find all these good points? Rabbi Nachman says you make a song. Rabbi Nachman says, what's a song? Any of you would play an instrument? Anybody here play an instrument? No? No? You ever seen anybody play an instrument? You guys like music? Yeah? Do you like music? How do they make a song? There's notes on a scale. Right? There's an E, there's an A, there's a G, there's a D. Right? I used to play guitar a little bit. Not very good. So now I'm playing. How do I make a good song? I find one note that I like, and then I find another note that goes along well with that note. And then I find another note that goes along well with that note. What am I doing besides that? I'm also disregarding all the other sounds on the guitar, right? I'm saying that sound doesn't go well with this sound. So what am I doing? I'm pushing away those bad sounds, and I'm only picking good sounds. And when you have a string of good sounds, you create a song. David says, with that little bit of good in me, I'm going to sing to you. Rabbi Nachman says, daika, specifically a song. Why? Because that's how you make a song. You find a little bit of good, you find another little bit of good, you find another, and you create a whole song. And you sing to Hashem with that. Nobody suffered more than David HaMelech. Nobody went through more than King David. And yet, he was besimcha. He was happy. How could he be happy? Azamra. He constantly looked for the good points. And with that, he sang to Hashem. Because that's a song. The good points. Says, Troim b'shevet barzel kichli yotzer tenapsim. You will break them with an iron rod. You're going to shatter them like a potter's ware. What is he speaking about? Negativity. That Hashem is saying to David, you are going to destroy all the negativity in your life. And again, who's Tehillim for? It's for every single one of us. So whatever Hashem is saying to David, he's saying to each of you. Whatever negativity there is in your life, you are not just going to get rid of it, you're going to shatter it. You're going to demolish it. You're going to pummel it. You're going to obliviate it. How? Want to hear something amazing? He says with an iron rod. What does that have to do with us? How can I relate to that? Are any of you carrying around an iron rod? You are. I believe you actually. No, you're not. I know some people, The word for iron is barzel. Barzel in Hebrew. Jacob, who was the creator of the Jewish people, right? We're called Bnei Yaakov, the children of Jacob. Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel. That's the other name for Jacob. So we are named after Jacob. But Jacob wasn't the one who created the Jewish people alone. He had a wife. He had, I thought you were going to tell me how many there were. That's why you went like this, because there was 4 wives. You were just yawning though. Yeah. 4 wives Yaakov had. Okay? This is not condoned anymore. But it was a special circumstance. It was a different situation. Yaakov had 4 wives. They were actually 4 sisters. Okay? Yeah? One of them, it depends on the midrash you look at. Whatever. They were very close. Sister wives. One's name was Bilhah. One's name was Rachel. Right? She wasn't created in friends. She came much earlier than that. Zilpah. Leah. These were the 4 wives. What is the first letters of each of their name? Let's do it together. Ready? Bilhah is a bet. Reish, Rachel, Reish. Zilpah, Zayin. Leah, Lamed. What does it spell? Barzel, iron. How is a Jew going to destroy all the negativity in their life? By connecting to the 4 mothers of Judaism. Rachel, Leah, Zilpah, Bilhah. Why? Because they represent emunah. The Jewish woman represents emunah, faith. That no matter what's going on in your life, no matter how much you're struggling, no matter how bad things have been, even if they're getting worse and worse and worse, and they have never gotten better, Barzel, that the Jewish woman believes it could get better. I believe it could get better. Even though my circumstances don't show me that at all. These four women together represent complete emunah. Yaakov, he represents the Torah. It says, give emet to Yaakov, give truth to Yaakov. He represents the truth. His wives all together represent complete emunah, complete faith. What is David, what is the Jew going to use in his generation to overcome all of his inner demons, his depression, his anxiety, his fears, his lusts, his ego, his insecurities? Barzel, emunah. What does emunah mean? I believe everything that happens in my life is because Hashem wants it to happen. I believe everything that Hashem does is for my very absolute best. I believe that everything that's happening to me, that Hashem does because it's for my very best, is because He wants to bring me closer to Him. If a person actually doesn't just know this, but he believes this in his heart, he has emunah shlema, complete emunah. He has and is connected to the four mothers of Judaism. So if you believe in God, but you don't believe He loves you, you can't have emunah. You can't have faith because you're believing in a false God, a God that doesn't exist. If you believe that Hashem loves you, but you don't believe everything He's doing is for your best, then you believe in a false God. You don't really believe in Hashem. If you believe that He loves you, everything you're doing is for your best, but you don't believe what He's doing is in order to bring you closer to Him, you don't have real emunah. You don't believe in the God of Judaism. You believe in a false God. How hard is it or easy is it to get emunah shlema, to actually experience that in your heart? It's the hardest thing in the world. The hardest thing in the world is to experience what I just said, not just to know that such a thing could be true, but to feel that in your heart is the hardest thing to do. Emunah is like the moon. It waxes and it wanes. It's built. The truth just is. It just is. Just is. You ever notice women don't have to do a lot of the mitzvot that men have to do? Now, if you grew up secular, why do you think that is? Because it's a chauvinistic religion. Because Judaism doesn't believe in the value of women. And they're second class and X, Y, and Z, and you can go on and on and on and on. Can I tell you the reason why Jewish women have less mitzvot than men to do? It's a very simple reason. It's very understandable. It's very logical. Women are very connected to the physical world. How do we see this? Because you cycle with the moon. Your inner process that takes place every month, every 2 weeks, this and this and this, is connected to the cycle of the moon. Everything about a woman is cycles. Up and down, up and down, up and down. Even the emotional state. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's very connected to the moon. It's very connected to the physical world, which is constantly waxing and waning, going up and down. Okay? Men are naturally connected to, let's say, the sun. What's the sun? It's the same every day. It's the same every day. Hashem wanted us to be connected to this world. He wanted us to be connected to time and space. So all the mitzvot that women don't have to do, they are one type of mitzvah. They're called time-bound mitzvot. What does that mean? A mitzvah that's dependent on time. I wear tzitzit. Have you guys ever seen tzitzit? There's 4 corners of the garment. Why don't women wear that? Because it's a mitzvah that's dependent on time. You don't have to wear them at night. You have to wear them during the day. So if it's a mitzvah that you have to do at a certain time, it's dependent on time. Men are not naturally connected to time. So Hashem wanted them to be. So what did He do? He gave them mitzvot to help them connect to time by having always to be aware of it. Women are naturally connected to time and space. And therefore you don't need a reminder. That's it. That's it. That's the whole thing. That because you're more connected to a certain level of reality, you have less things to do. If anything, it's a ma'ala, it's greater. A person who has more mitzvot, it's because he needs more work to do. There's more for him to do. He has to work hard, like to do something, because there's something wrong. If you have less, there's less for you to do. Now, kings, be wise. All the judges of the earth. Okay, so now listen to what he says. Ivdu et Hashem b'yirah. Serve Hashem with yirah. How is this usually translated? Fear. Yirah doesn't mean fear. Pachad means fear. Pachad is fear. Yira means awe. Does anybody know what awe feels like? Have you ever seen a sunrise? Like an incredible sunrise or an incredible sunset? Have you ever been to Israel? Has anybody here ever been to Israel? Have you ever been like in nature somewhere, something beautiful, like something that you couldn't see in a movie, just something incredible that's so much bigger than you, that at the moment that's happening, you feel complete peace because you realize that something is so great and so huge and so enormous and so unexplainable. That's yira. That's what yira is. Yira is to be in awe. That when the Torah says that you should have yirat Hashem, like when you see a sunset or you see a river, or you see a gigantic mountain, or you see a landscape, and you're just in awe. That's like a small of what we're supposed to feel with Hashem. How do we know David's not just making this up? Because you might not hear that from other rabbis. Because the Zohar says very clearly, the Zohar is the deepest mystical text. All Jewish mysticism is based in the Zohar. You can't argue on a Zohar. You can explain it, you can look at it in context. The Zohar says very clearly, where is the place of inner peace? Where is the place of shalom? Only in the place of yira. So if it's a place of anxiety, how am I feeling peace in that place? If yira means fear in the way that we usually experience it, that's like anxiety, right? When I'm scared of something, I have anxiety. So do I have peace when I have anxiety? No. I have the opposite. So the Zohar says, you know how you have peace? Only when you have yira. So what? It must be that yira is not anxiety. Yira is awe. To be in awe. Now listen to what it says here. Ivdu et Hashem b'yira v'gilu birada. And you should rejoice. How can you be happy if you're terrified? How can you be happy if you're having a panic attack? So David's giving a very big secret. Do you want to know the key to being happy? Having yira, to be in awe. To be in awe. To think that Hashem is awesome. He's awesome. Then you'll be happy. It says an amazing thing here, and then we're going to finish, okay? Rabbi Nachman, when he was a child, the earliest book he wrote was when he was like 10 or 11 years old. He was 8? 8, thank you. He was 8 years old. Okay? So you see, he was not a normal child. He wrote a book when he was 8 years old. In English, it's translated as the Aleph Bet book. Okay? In Hebrew, they call it Sefer Midot, the book of attributes, qualities of a person. And he discusses every single attribute, every quality of a person. Listen to what he says there. If someone possesses this holy trait of awe, like real awe, then when panic strikes the whole world, does that sound familiar? He will remain unshaken. He's even going to be incredibly happy. Can I tell you an unbelievable thing? During the coronavirus, that the whole world was in panic, I was the happiest I've ever been. Sitting in my home, the happiest I'd ever been. And everyone around me is telling me, oh my God, what's going to happen to us? What's going to happen? What's going to do with this? I'm going to lose all my money. What about my family? Now I'm going to have to see my family. I'm going to have to spend time with them. Oh my gosh, I was able to avoid this. Now I can't. Now I have to go home. I have to spend time with my kids. Oh my God, what am I going to do? And then when is this going to end? What's going to happen? What's going to be? Is the economy going to collapse? Do I have to go hop the fence and go to Mexico? Is there a fence yet, or did they build it? Did they build that wall? I don't know. I stopped watching news years ago. I just the last thing I heard was build that wall. Did he do it? No. He didn't. He's off of it, or he's still trying to build it. I had a funny thing, by the way. No, it's just an interesting thing. I listened to an unbelievable thing. I was thinking to myself, I stopped watching news years ago. Part of the reason was because Rabbi Nachman says part of the reason why people are sad is because they're watching secular wisdom. Because it's all lies. Okay? Whether you're on whatever side you're on, it doesn't make a difference. It's not based in truth. It's not real. Okay? So now, I said in the yeshiva when I said, they're always talking about politics. Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that. And I said, you know what would be amazing? If they spent billions of dollars to build the wall, and then the people in Mexico just took a ladder and just went over it. They're just building and building and building, and they never thought and you know what the guy told me? They already started doing it. They're working on building a ladder that they can get over however big the wall is. It's unbelievable. I don't know if any of this is true, but it's just an unbelievable thing. It's just it's such a pal, it's such a wonder. Unbelievable. Okay. So, when you're going to be happy? When you have yira. When are you going to have awe? When you think that Hashem is awesome. Not when you're shaking in your boots. Not when you're terrified about every step that you take and every move that you make. He'll be watching you.